Hello everyone around the world. This is Rexsy again. Um, it's been a while since I made the last video in English. Obviously, I've been busy with other projects, including scientific projects in artificial intelligence. Um, Working a lot with mathematics and engineering concepts and design. Also, I've been composing and recording some music, so y'all can listen and enjoy. It's quite simplistic to talk about one's work, in the mundane world, in the world of appearance, and it is much more subtle, much more deeper and sophisticated to communicate one's feelings, one's vision in the unknown world, in the world of silence, in the world of highly meditative intelligence. But I will try my best to communicate, such deep layers in my mind. Once I wrote, "In the immense silence of emptiness, universal cosmic energy radiates omnipresently over the deep space of impermanent existence, where sufferings exist endlessly in the profoundly moving beauty of the universe. Meditation is the greatest path to the cessation of sufferings under the movement of intelligence, peace, and love." I don't know how I wrote this, but in the state of meditation, one may feel the love, the universal love, unconditionally from the gods, from the universe, from the deepest layer of space, far-reaching into one's imagination and vision. And it feels like one is coming home, you know. I've always been feeling very close to silence, to the unknown world, the unknown universe, the other 99.99% that we have no access to by any scientific methods. These days, advanced quantum physics, particle physics, and science in general, they discover dark matter, dark energy, those that we know that they are there for the universe to exist in such order that we are observing now. But we don't have any access to them. We cannot measure, we cannot penetrate to study them whatsoever. So we have to go around, with the mathematics, with speculations, with much imagination, try to figure out what they are. And often when scientists run into the wall, on their search for understanding the universe. Then they tend to go around, to Eastern wisdom, thousands of years ago. And listen to what the Buddha had said, what Christ had said, Krishnamurti, Lao Tzu, Bodhidharma, and so on. And often things came back making a lot of sense. So they've always seen the parallel reflections between the Western science and the Eastern wisdom. And actually they complement each other for humanity, for human search for truth. Einstein once said, religions, arts, and sciences are branches of the same tree. So they complement one another, in their existence. So there we have sciences, as Einstein said. And there we have religions. So religions of the West, or Eastern wisdom of the East. And in between we have arts, the music, the wordless wisdom via the music, the sound in space and time. But these are interconnected to one another as the human mind. When you look at the consciousness or conscious mind, and then the subconscious mind, and the unconscious mind. There are the three layers. In reality, there are more layers to that, but just observing those three, for simplicity. So conscious mind requires logic, thinking, the thinker, the movements of the mind, as the mind of most people, including the scientists. And then the subconscious mind go deep down into the deeper layer of the mind. Then there are regions that we have no access to. But we know that there's some activities and there's some connection and there's a communication between the subconscious mind and the conscious mind. And then the last but not least, the unconscious mind, the unknown. And even today's science, we still don't have clear knowledge of how they operate. Especially, the subconscious mind and the unconscious mind. The unconscious mind is like the unknown universe of the 99.9% dark information dark existence. And the conscious mind reflects the 0.1% of existence, the things that we know, the known. But the question is, how can one use the known to penetrate the unknown? That's impossible, right? Let's say a child, in the first grade or second grade, and he only knows how to add and subtract a little bit. But if we impose, college level of calculus, differential equation, mathematical probability, advanced logic, functional analysis, and so on, then with his limited known mind of the known, namely adding and subtracting, he can never penetrate the college level of mathematics. It's impossible. And here we are. Whatever we know so far is very elementary with respect to the cosmic intelligence of the universe. So we're trying to use our little known mind to break through, to penetrate the intelligent, unknown universe. That's almost impossible. It is possible in some cases when the mind is still, is quiet, then it can penetrate the unknown part of existence. But it takes silence of the mind. It takes silence to penetrate silence. It takes emptiness to penetrate emptiness. But as long as our mind is chattering, as long as we have fluctuating movements of the little knowledge of the 0.1%, then it is impossible to penetrate the dark information. And that's why I wrote, meditation is the greatest path to existence. Being a scientist in artificial intelligence and engineering in general, I use my conscious mind to develop, design lots of engineering systems. But when there's a requirement to go beyond my knowledge, to come up with a new perception, new concept in the system design, then oftentimes I've seen some of them via silence. When the mind is it's mostly relaxed, then advanced concepts would emerge out of nowhere, out of the unknown world. And often after the further developments in the implementation of such new concepts, from the unknown world. It was proven to be working very nicely. So this had happened quite a bit with some of us. In the world of the scientists, sometimes they work their mind real hard to find solution. They find none until they give up, and they just surrender and just remain relaxed, see what happens. And sometimes things came to them just emerging out of nowhere, out of the unknown. So there, by accident, we had access to the unknown world with some solutions. But that's only a fraction of the dark intelligence of the universe. And this is why Einstein once said, there are moments when one feels free from one's own identification with human limitations and inadequacies. The reason that he said the human is very limited with his inadequacies in knowledge, in knowing, because our knowledge is only a fraction of what is out there in the whole multiverse. So he did have that perception. And then he continued, at such moments one imagines that one stands on some spot of a small planet, gazing in amazement at the cold yet profoundly moving beauty of the eternal, the unfathomable. Beauty of the eternal. That's something for us to think about, to wonder. Life, as we know it, is not eternal. Sooner or later, we're going to have to pass and perhaps move on to the next level. But when one looks at the universe, look at the cold, look at the profoundly moving beauty of the cosmos, one can feel the sense of eternity. The unknown. That's why he said the unfathomable. Meaning the 99.9% unknown to all of us. And he continued, life and death flow into one. There is neither revolution nor destiny, only being. This is a very highly meditative state. In the meditative state, when the mind is quiet, then it is equivalent to being dead, right? Because to most of us, we have to have some movements, some activities. Thought has to be in control in order for us to live, right? We have to have desire, the three poisons: hatred, greed, and ignorance. And that's how we define living. And that's why most of us suffer. But when the mind is silent, and there's none of those qualities, characters, then it's equivalent to death. While we're living, that's why he said life and death flow into one. And there's neither revolution nor destiny. So here, we're not in the space of time. We're completely out of time. And that's what meditation is. In meditation, time ends, and only being in the present moments. So again, as I mentioned in previous talk, previous video, most of us are very confused in understanding what meditation is. So some of us try to come up with various systems of meditation to silence thoughts or suppress thoughts or repeat certain words or phrase as mantra. Or by concentrating into one specific thing, and so on. And none of those is meditation whatsoever. Meditation is universal, it's highly intelligent. It's not something that the limited mind, human mind, can invent. How can one use the 0.1% of the known, of his knowledge, to impose on the highly intelligent, unknown universe the rest of 99.99%? It's absurd. It's just like, go back to the previous example. It's just like a child knowing how to add and subtract a bit. Try to come up with some theories, how to do calculus, how to do differential equations, how to do real analysis of the college level. It's absurd. So if we observe that, then from that angle of perception, we see the absurdity of when we feel threatened, when we feel insecure with the unknown, then we try to run around and then use whatever tools available to us, the known, which is very limited, and try to manipulate it to explain the unknown, so we can gain more security